From the north side of the San Francisco Bay to Singapore, welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host, business owner, lecturer, author, master trainer, Tiaja. With over 30 years of experience in the health and fitness industry, he will challenge the fitness between your ears. So prepare your mind, body, and soul for the revolution of self-care, the evolution of fit, with real talk about real people, real health, real fitness, and the real deal behind our present illness culture. Real talk every time, all the time. Get weekly insights on how to shift your thinking, emoting, eating, training, hydrating, goal setting, and resting for you, the everyday athlete. You can cheat your fitness, but you can't steal your health flow. It's Tuesday, 9 a.m. Let's flow.
Welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio, where we challenge the fitness between your ears. I'm your host, Tiaja. The field of neuroscience is using the power of belief to help amputees in excruciating pain find relief. Often people who lose a limb experience what's called phantom pain. It's very real pain, sensations in a part of their body that no longer exists. Because the limb is no longer there, there's no way for them to treat it therapeutically or massage it or do anything to relieve the pain. But through the use of mirrors, a process known as mirror box therapy, they are able to reflect the image of the patient's existing limb to where the missing limb used to be. So it appears that the missing limb is no longer missing. Then they have the patient, if they're missing an arm, for example, move their existing arm to relieve the tension in it however they can. And the mind is tricked into believing that this is happening to the missing arm, and the pain disappears. By making the mind believe that the non-existent exists, they are able to help patients change their physical reality. This is but one example of how powerfully linked the mind is to the body and vice versa. Now, many people are stuck in a weight loss rut, if you will, because they are still experiencing the phantom pain associated with a time when they were much thinner and weighed much less. Instead of the loss of a limb, it's as if they're experiencing the pain of losing a part of themselves, actually a whole person, as in their former selves. I know this isn't exactly comparing apples to apples, but hear me out. Your body is the living embodiment of your thoughts. It isn't to say that you can simply sit on a hill, though, and eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream all day long while meditating for a thinner body and all will be good. The ice cream will be good, but you won't change a thing until your body believes you are willing to give it what it needs to necessitate such climate changes disguised as desires. The reality is, your body will do nothing without you first entering into a long-term contract or agreement versus a long-term negotiation. You know, if you do this, I'll do that. Such negotiations simply don't work, at least long-term. And that's all a diet is, or to the most part, a new workout plan is. Both are no more than long-term negotiations as far as your body is concerned. But the pain, the phantom pain of missing part of yourself still remains. Visualizing the new you can only go so far. In fact, there is a psychological disorder called dysmorphia. Now, I've touched on it briefly in earlier episodes, but let me explain it all over again. Body dysmorphic disorders is a mental disorder characterized by the obsessive idea that some aspect of one's own body part or appearance is severely flawed, which warrants exceptional measures to hide or to fix it. And though this is the extreme side of the spectrum, most people suffer from some minor episodes of dysmorphia. Dysmorphia was perhaps the number one reason why my clients were stuck. They may have been eating nearly a perfect diet or found their near perfect workout routine, but still they weren't making any real progress in their body image battle. Being comfortable in one's skin is undoubtedly the biggest stumbling block for most people. I used to ask my female clients all the time that if they could have their perfect ideal body but subsequently had to weigh more than they ever have to achieve it, would they want that? And almost every single person replied no. What would make a person think that way? When your ideal perfect body won't satisfy or fulfill your fitness goals, then what can or will? Today will be just another day unless you decide today that it won't be. It is Tuesday, March 12, 2019. Let's flow.
Can body image problems affect our mental health? Body image problems can feature in a range of mental health conditions, including depression, anxiety, and social phobias. In the case of body dysmorphic disorder, people could have a very distorted perception of their body and their appearance.
Mirrors and windows are my enemy on the days when I'm having a body dysmorphic disorder flare up. I don't think anyone is 100% happy with their appearance, or I'm yet to meet somebody who is. But for me, this was just to the extreme.
People use mirrors within BDD to check their appearance in order to gather more data or information about how bad the part that they fear looks awful actually really is.
The lowest point for me was probably the third time I tried to kill myself. I felt disgusting, didn't want people to see me.
BDD is an obsessional anxiety disorder. People with BDD are sometimes seen as narcissistic because what is perceived is that there is an obsession with how they look. Actually, that's what happens as a result of detesting how they look, and their aim, typically, is just to look acceptable and normal. BDD is a shame-based disorder. A lot of people sit in silence with it because they don't know that it is actually an illness and that it's a treatable illness.
For some people, negative body image can be linked to disordered eating.
I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act because of anorexia. Then going from a size 4 to a size 20, using food as a compulsive overeating disorder to kind of numb myself in a different way.
The commonality between BDD and eating disorders is disordered eating, so that the eating potentially is disrupted. Now, a lot of people with BDD have a preoccupation and distress about an aspect of their appearance that doesn't have anything to do with eating. But for those that have an appearance problem that is, for example, their whole body shape, then that quite often includes disordered eating.
There's blurred lines between my eating disorders and my body dysmorphic disorder. They do shift, and it's hard to tell the difference sometimes, but it is useful, so useful for me to have that language around which to talk about both these separate conditions, as well as, depression and anxiety still are things that I battle with regularly.
For me, my eating disorder was about addiction, obsession, and control. But I couldn't see what other people could see, and at the time, I didn't even realise that I got a problem.
Let's be honest, if you saw me in the street, you're not going to think, whoa, alpha male. Much more likely to think, oh, vegetarian.
A body image problem can become extremely dangerous. In the case of anorexia and bulimia, it may lead to very serious long-term health problems. And in the case of body dysmorphic disorder, it has one of the highest suicide rates of any psychiatric problem.
So what was your kind of breakthrough moment?
Somebody said to me, let's try a month where you live as if your body dysmorphic disorder is a mental health problem rather than being a physical problem. So just pretend for a month that there's not actually something wrong with you, there's something wrong with your mind, and see how it goes. So I was like, I guess I don't have anything to lose. And then having the really intense exposure therapy, working on my anxiety, that was the big change for me.
Exposure therapy means deliberately facing your fears in a way that's therapeutic. To help someone stop their compulsions, the most important thing for them is first to consider the effect of these strategies and how much they may in fact be worsening their preoccupation with their appearance.
I think one of the breakthrough moments for me for getting help was I slumped into depression and it became my normality. And as soon as I started to think that I could get rid of that I could get back to being the person that I enjoyed and actually start having fun again, that made recovery seem exciting and enjoyable rather than something that I was losing the anorexia, I was actually gaining my life back.
Sometimes I tell myself that I actually have great love and respect for my body. It's really helpful to calm myself down, to remind myself of how much I've put it through and how it's survived, it's sprung back and forth. Sometimes if I can't adore it, love it, at least I can respect it.
What's helped me most is having support from family and friends, and that isn't necessarily them understanding where I'm coming from, because mental health problems are really often irrational and won't make sense to them, but just being there for me and trying to still listen and sort of validate the way I'm feeling.
Recovery takes time, and some days are better than others. But if you are struggling, no matter how bad you feel right now, there is help out there. You just have to ask.
Thank you so much, and have a good one. Goodbye. Thank you, guys.
Now here are my 2 cents, and feel free to keep the change. Come here. No. Closer. I really need you to hear this. There is nothing wrong with the way you look, unless the way you look is interfering with your health. You may not like the idea of having any body fat, but not only having some body fat is healthy, it may be the optimum state of health for your particular body and DNA. Not everyone is meant to be a size 0. In fact, very few post-pubescent people are. There was a time in your life you may have been many sizes smaller, but that may have simply been what your body needed to maintain a healthy balance prior to you having children, and now it requires something altogether different. See, I know most people believe that all they have to do is eat the way they used to or work out the way they used to, and that alone will turn back the hands of time. It won't. Your body just doesn't work that way. If it did, then everyone would be able to wear the same tux or gown they wore at their senior prom, assuming they attended one. The reasons you can no longer fit into your favorite jeans you wore in your 20s and now you're in your 40s is because your body has new requirements in order for you to achieve a new balance, not just nutritionally and biologically, but also emotionally and psychologically. The phantom pain associated with losing a part of yourself is only real because you still consider the old you the better version of you. But let me ask you, where else in your life would you apply such flawed logic? You don't think your old car is better than your new one, or you still drive the old one. In fact, most of what you have today is far superior than anything you've ever had until it comes to you. Then it's in with the old and out with the new. But what if I were to show you how you could change all that? Would you be interested? What if I showed you how to enjoy the journey while changing the scenery? Would that interest you? I hope so. Because without the desire to expect more, there's little or nothing you or anyone else can do for you. I want to help you get unstuck. I don't want your 2019 to be a repeat of 2018, and it doesn't have to be. Tune in next week as I give you 5 keys that are guaranteed to set you on the path to make this year your most successful year yet. No more looking back or hoping or wishing. It's time to expect more from the universe, but more importantly, from yourself. Dear friends, I wish above all things that you prosper just as your soul prospers. You've been listening to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio. I'm your host, Tiaja. Stay locked in and follow us on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram, Snapchat or TikTok, as well as all of your other favorite social media. One last thing, show your support by hitting that subscribe button and sharing this podcast with your family and friends. And don't forget, you can download our app at tiajae.podbean.com. Finally, stop through our flagship website at www.urbanxfitness.net, where you will find our online stores, the Urban Experience Fit Stores 1 and 2. And once there, you can download our unique home and gym workouts, our dietary menus, as well as purchase some remarkably bold teas and spark your own revolution of self-care. From there, simply head over to our small library of my hand-picked, personally endorsed nutritional products. Okay, got it? Okay, then get it. Until next week, as always, walk in health and peace.